Aloha everyone, this is Lenora, Hawaii's Pickle Lady. Boy, we've come through a lot of videos. We've already done 160 videos and we have over 3,000 subscribers. I think very soon, in a few days, we'll be up to 4,000. So again, I want to thank you so much for helping this channel grow. Now, in my last video, which is here, in the blueberry muffins, I talked about doing a special giveaway, which is an air fryer. So those of you who are subscribed and you make a comment only on YouTube, not on Facebook, and you will be entered to be in the drawing for that. So today, I'm going to make something also very special, I think. In the last 5 to 10 years, this industry has boomeranged. It's grown. Everybody's making bone broth, whether it's in a powder form, whether it's in a jar, and it's very expensive. I know there's this one doctor who promotes her bone broth powders, and it's like $168 for only a few weeks supply of drinking this broth. You just add water. So I'm going to show you how to do it. And all you need is an Instant Pot. Now normally they will boil these bones for up to 24 hours because you have to get out all the gelatin and all the nutrients from inside the bones. So what I have here are some bones. They look kind of weird and dried up. But what I did yesterday, I roasted these bones at 350 degrees for 1 hour. So they look like this, but don't worry about it. That's to give it more flavor. What I have here are beef bones. You can buy this like that, so you don't have to buy the whole cut of meat. And then I have chicken feet, which I know most of you said, ooh, chicken feet. But you want all the gelatin and the connective tissue in there. So what I did was I cut off the nails. They're kind of weird, they have nails. I just cut it off with a good scissors and left it like that. And then I have a bunch of chicken neck bones. You can use a whole carcass, any kind of bones you can use, okay? This is left over from a steak that we had. And this is a pork bone that I save when I make char siu, the pork butt. I save the bone. And these are some oxtails. They're smaller ones, but you can put any size you want. So they look kind of dried up, but don't worry about it. And this particular one is pig feet. I bought it like this already cut. So I have all kinds of bones here. I just put it in a pan, shoved it in the oven for 1 hour at 350. Then I took it out, okay? And then I just discarded the grease. So if you don't want this many bones or you don't have access to all of them, you can just use one kind. Like say if you were roasting a turkey, you'd save the carcass and the wings and whatever parts you don't want. The fat and everything goes in. Or you want it all chicken, it's fine. But you don't have to have this variety, but I did just for the sake of the video to show you what kinds of meat you can use. And then also, you can also use like lamb, any cuts of meat or the bones that you can save. Okay, so now I'm just gonna put it in, this is an 8-quart Instant Pot. I'm putting in the bones, no particular order, just dumping it all in the pot. And what I do is when I collect bones, I freeze it so that I can have it when it's ready. And these chicken necks, I happen to find it all in a package, so I bought that. The rest of the bones are going in. Now, I might tell you also, there's a difference between chicken or the bone stock and bone broth. Stock is something that you can use any kind of bones too, like when you're making soup for cabbages or whatever. But stock is only cooked like about 2 hours. But the bone broth, I told you, it can be cooked up to 24 hours because you want to get out all the nutrients from there, the cartilage, the gel. So when you're done with it and you refrigerate it, it'll gel. So that's how you can tell you have a good bone broth. So now all this is in. Now, if you don't have an Instant Pot, you can use a regular pressure cooker, but sometimes it's kind of dangerous, and that's the only thing that it does. Whereas the Instant Pot, you can do, it's a multifunctional kind of pot. And if you don't have any of these, you can put it on a stove. But like I said, you have to cook it for about 18 to 24 hours to get the full benefit of it. So the Instant Pot is a good buy. It's not that expensive now. They have even different sizes, even 4-quart, 6-quart, and this is an 8-quart. Okay, there's a maximum line here. It said 2/3. You don't want the water to go past it because it might overflow. So now I'm going to pour it in. And you want to cover the bones by about 2 inches of water. So I probably will need more water than this. Okay, I have to get more water. Okay, now I'm going to add more water. And you cover it with about 2 inches of water over the bones, as long as you don't reach past the maximum line, which is okay now. Now, I'm also adding some cider vinegar, and what this does is the acidity breaks down the collagen in the bones, and it makes it more abundant in the soup. And then some salt and some peppercorns, and that's it. Now I'm going to cover the pot. Now I'm going to turn it on and set it to soup and broth, and plus 1 hour. Okay, it's been an hour. Now I'm going to vent it. You can either do it to the left or right, and you see the button is up. We have to wait until the button goes down. But when you push this, all the steam will come out, so don't use your finger. So I have here a spoon. Here we go. Okay, now the button has gone down and it's safe to open it. So it took about 4.5 minutes, so now I'm going to open it carefully. Wow, look at that. So I just want to show you after 1 hour in the Instant Pot, you see all the bones have coming loose, all the gristle and muscle from the bones are coming apart, and that's what you want. Chicken feet is kind of soft, and you can eat the meat if you want to, but we just want the broth mainly. So now I'm going to add the herbs and vegetables. So I have here quite an assortment. You can use whatever kind of vegetables and herbs you have. And it doesn't have to be in the best condition. If it's kind of like limp and all, just freeze it and save it for another broth thing. So I have here some rosemary, some dill, some thyme, and oregano. These are the herbs. And then I have here some parsley. Okay. And then different kinds of vegetables. I have here, okay, the leek and some leftover celery and some broccoli stems. Just throw everything in. Now you don't have to peel the vegetables. Just cut it kind of big. The whole head of garlic, I'm just cutting it in half. And then an onion, I'm just gonna probably quarter it. Just throw it in the pot. And then I have here some carrots, just rough cut, no peeling, no particular way to cut it. And you can put any kind of vegetables you have left over, okay? But this is just what I happen to have. And these are parsnips, kind of related to a carrot. And you see, these are very And we're just gonna putting in the rest of the parsnips. And I'm just gonna push it down just a little, but don't have to worry, it'll all be broken up, okay? And I told you about the maximum line. It's just about there, so it's perfect. So now I'm gonna put the cover back on. And then we're gonna cook it for 1 more hour. Okay, it's been an hour, and the venting is done, the button is down, so it's safe to open. So I'm gonna open it now. Okay, this is how it looks. All the vegetables are very soft. Now I'm gonna use my chinois because I have to strain it. And it's difficult to use with just an ordinary strainer because this is pretty heavy duty. Now I'm just gonna dump everything into the chinois, because you wanna strain out all the hard parts and all the bones. So this is what is left. All the bones you see are very soft, and I can just peel off the meat. And if you want, at this point, you can pick off the meat and eat it and put it in other dishes, or you can just discard the whole thing. But what I'm looking for is the broth. I'm gonna pour it through a fine sieve because the chinois has a lot of bigger holes. And if it's still not very clear, I can put it through cheesecloth. So after that, I'll put it in a container and then cool it off some, and then refrigerate it till tomorrow. And all the grease, I'll be able to just lift it off. And at that point, it'll be ready. But I'll show you tomorrow where it turns like to gelatin. So this is what is left from the sediment. So this is the broth. And I'm gonna let it cool because it is super hot. And then after that, I'm going to refrigerate it until tomorrow morning. And then I'll just take off the fat from the top. Right now it's floating and some of the fat is underneath, so you want to get rid of all of that. And then that'll be your bone broth. Very nutritious. A lot of collagen and proteins and other minerals in it. Now this bone broth is done. And I've refrigerated it overnight, and you can see it's pretty solid, but there's a whole layer of fat that I want to take out. So you can see the yellow layer, and I'm just going to scoop it out. It's about probably a 1/4 inch thick, see? Just take it all out. And underneath is this delicious broth. There's just a little bit of fat left, but you can see when you refrigerate it, it gets hard. So don't ever try to scoop it out when the broth is hot because it won't work. So just be patient and wait a day or so. So I pretty much got it out. And you can see the clear broth underneath, which has turned to gelatin. So the clear broth has turned to gelatin. Now you see all of it. So the skin, broth, and connective tissue has all the cartilage that you're removing all of these impurities. And it's good for strengthening hair and nails. And it's good for cellulite because it has connective tissue that helps to reduce some of the cellulite. And it's good for anti-aging. Some people use it for diet. You can sip this throughout the day, so you can warm some up and heat it up and sip it during the day. It's very good. And it's good when you don't want to eat all kinds of stuff, but this is so good. And because the bones were cooked so long, like 2 hours total in the Instant Pot, it was interesting because when I took out the bones, like the chicken feet, and I ate some of the meat off of it, the bones just kind of melted. It was that soft. So you know all the collagen came out of the bones. And that's the part that's good for you. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in a plate and show you how thick this gelatin is. And that's the part that you want. And remember, they sell this, but it's very, very expensive in powder form or in bottles. Remember, long boiling breaks down all the cartilage. And what is left is the gelatin broth. And that's what you want. So this is perfect. So I'm just going to scoop some out so you can see. Look at the gelatin. It's really good. So if you want to drink this, I would heat some up. Okay, you can even put some in a cup and microwave it for a few seconds so you can drink it. But this gelatin is so nice. And I'll melt it so you can kind of see. So this is the collagen-rich protein bone broth. And you can sip it throughout the day. So what I've done is I've put some in the microwave so that you can see it's a broth. And I tasted it. It needs just a tad of salt, but you don't need salt. But you can also use this for gravies and for other dishes too. It's very rich, better than just using water or broth from a can. So I'm just going to put a sprinkle of salt, okay? Then I'm going to stir it up. So you can drink this any time of the day or night or during the day when you feel hungry. This will kind of help you to crave, when you crave like sweets and other things, just drink this. So I just put a little bit of salt. And it's very delicious. I can taste some of the veggies in here, and you won't even know that it was a lot of meat and fat and everything. So all the fat collected, and you can see how much is there, okay? So if you like this video, don't forget to smash that like button, comment, and subscribe. So don't forget to click that bell so that you can be notified whenever we make great videos like this. Mahalo.